To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of sorrows and by opposing, end them, to die, to sleep.
Charu, I think you almost turned into Hamlet there.
No, my bad.
Every time you do a character, you really get into that vibe, the mood.
I mean, when you have such a character like Hamlet,
It's a good thing, definitely.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to justify that character. There's justice to be done.
The principal justification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Back to point. Hi guys, welcome to Words of the Bard 24, a project done by the English Literary Association and the English Drama Society of Royal College. This is where we bring to you some of history's most famous bards and some of history's most famous literary figures, and to impact your lives and for you all to learn something. So, Dithir, you want to explain about the project a bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not a very fancy dude. I mean, if you're bored, just watch our videos. We have pretty interesting videos.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have pretty interesting videos in the future. So, we'll be releasing 4 videos as a part of the series. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks to the committee for being an amazing committee. And thank you to Shakespeare for being an amazing bard.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
I mean,
talk about it.
If not for the bards, you wouldn't have something.
Exactly. So
back to point. William Shakespeare. I mean, gods, what a man. So, Kavish, you want to explain about it?
I mean, here's the thing, Charu. Shakespeare isn't someone you can just explain about. Like, there is so much he has done. Like, before Shakespeare came along, right? Drama was like, although it still happened, it was never as great as until Shakespeare came. Like, after Shakespeare came, drama just never really fell down.
Yeah,
you can
glorified it.
You can see books like Midsummer Night's Dream, things like Hamlet, things like Romeo and Juliet. Regardless of whether you're a literature enthusiast or not, you're still likely to know these books, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't be asking you because you are a literature enthusiast, but
I feel like
you're a good example.
okay. I'll take it as a compliment. But so what I wanted to say was, even in countries like Sri Lanka, where English is a second language, you still see a huge impact that has been done through Shakespeare's work. You have competitions like the annual Shakespeare Drama Competition, and it's like a great platform, a great stage for so many people to discover their talents and enjoy drama as a whole. I mean, if you're bored, once again, just have fun. Act it out,
Dithira, seeing as how you're a huge drama enthusiast, what is your favorite Shakespeare literature piece?
Okay, I think my favorite would be Measure for Measure. I think everyone is very familiar with this.
I'm not sure, Dithira. Personally, I like books like Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet. Although they are the most famous, obviously they are the most famous for a reason. And I think.
So I think before we go on to his plays, because that's a huge subject to tackle. Let's talk about where this man came from.
Okay.
I mean, none of us are born great. None of us have all the glory and fame handed down to us. All of us start somewhere.
Exactly.
So Shakespeare, in this case, had a very humble beginning. He was born in Stratford-upon-Avon. He was known as the Bard of Avon, right?
Yeah.
And when he was born to a family of 8. His father was a local politician and a glove maker. And he started off very humble. And he married Anne Hathaway. And then went on to become one of the greatest bards in history. So,
but I mean, honestly, unlike the other bards we have planned to talk about, he had a comparatively normal life. Chill life.
I mean, 8 kids are tall.
And Shakespeare had 3 kids of his own. And so there was this period of Shakespeare's life. It was known as the lost years. So this is a period which isn't really recorded in history. So after getting married, there was a certain space of time, a few years before he came into the theatre scene, before he started getting famous for his plays. And there are many theories about these lost years, as they are called.
I mean, Charlie, let me give you one theory.
Okay.
I mean, after you just get married, don't you just want to chill, bro? Like,
Exactly.
you don't want to keep writing books for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You just want to chill. So like,
So yeah,
justifiable.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or maybe he wanted to become a glove maker like his father. But yeah, honestly, like jokes aside, I think this also shows how important Shakespeare as a person was. Like people don't know like what happened during like a few years of his life and they are freaking out already.
I mean, it's
yeah.
crazy. Like he disappeared off the charts,
Mm.
and when he came back into the theatre scene, right? And he came back, and he just had this huge impact. He like packed a huge punch. He came across as this brilliant author and brilliant writer and all that.
I mean, you really need a setback for a new comeback, you know?
Yeah.
Smart person.
He's having a setback right now. He's gonna make a comeback.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll take that as a compliment again.
yeah, okay. You can take this. Yeah. So let's move on to Shakespeare's plays.
Okay.
So-
let's talk about measure for measure because we ignored that.
We'll get to that in a
Okay,
second.
okay, fair enough.
So Shakespeare wrote 37 plays, I believe, and a bunch of sonnets. So if we consider plays, they can be divided into three parts,
Yeah.
essentially. First are tragedies, second comedies, and third are histories.
Historical, yeah.
Historical plays. And then we have plays like Measure for Measure, which are tragicomedies,
Yeah.
which are a bit of an integration of both tragedy and comedy.
So those are that like measure for measure is like necessarily an exception.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fall into anything, and a lot of people debate about it.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm once again about to go on a yak session about measure for measure.
No.
So
Charlie, you see, like, I think for Ditya, Measure for Measure just really relates into his life.
Yeah.
Like, a tragic comedy, unfortunately.
I'm taking that as a compliment because my life is.
We are just complimenting you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So moving on to his plays. Kavish, you want to tell us about his tragedies?
So one of my favorites is Hamlet. Like
Mhm.
you see Hamlet as like someone who ultimately, like Charu. Hopefully not like Charu. You know, like
Okay.
someone who gets the darkest parts of like humanity and ultimately goes insane.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, like Shakespeare is someone who tries to show every part of humanity. He has comedies, he has like the tragedies, and like this is one of his greatest tragedies,
Exactly.
right? I mean, it's not. I don't know what to say about the tragedy, but yeah.
So
I mean, compared to other artists, in a sense, he was very unique because of the fact that he explored every single emotion.
Exactly.
Because some people follow like a certain style,
Mhm.
a certain emotion, and that's like very distinct throughout like most of their creation.
Yeah.
But like
And this guy just
Shakespeare, everything. Like Kavish over here.
everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and speaking about Hamlet, like something that I just want to bring in here. I mean, it's a play which has been like you all have watched Lion King, right? We all have
Yeah.
watched Lion King.
Yeah.
So the basic plot for Lion King is essentially Hamlet. So
So there's a lion in Hamlet, or
not
Okay.
really.
Okay.
So the uncle kills the father and gets the throne. Same thing happens in Lion King. So
Okay.
that is like it's the same plot, but
Except less violent. Like we all love Lion King.
Lion King.
It's not a tragedy, guys.
yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, he definitely left a huge impact on the literary world. So let's move on to his comedies, something a bit lighter, isn't it?
Okay, I think the most comedy person here is definitely Kavisha once again. So let's get his opinion
Yeah.
first. You know?
I mean, define comedy, Charlie. Is Othello a comedy?
So not really, is it? Othello is a play about. I mean, it's a very deep and dark play. It's about a moon who is shunned by society. He does find love. I mean, there are lovely parts of his plays.
Okay.
but,
No, it's just thing, right? It's just for me, Shakespeare's plays are very diverse, right? You say something is comedy and you say something is tragedy.
No,
But
I think
like,
the point is you can always debate about the impact of the play in
Yes.
most like cases.
also like every play has things like tragedy and comedy. I feel like for me, Othello is the overall perspective of how Shakespeare wrote Othello. Although it was tragic, for me it felt more so like a comedy. And I just want to bring this up because like majority of the time people define plays as either comedy or tragedy, but like that isn't inherently true.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because like I mean, it's not something which is like you just don't go into one emotion and just stay in that emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Measure for Measure is pretty comedy. Even though some people believe it is a tragedy, sure, dude was about to die. But there's this random dude, he goes undercover, comes back, plays a huge scene. I don't know, feels funny to me.
Yeah, measure for measure is very close to Dithira's heart. So yeah, let's move on to some of his comedies. So for instance, we have Midsummer Night's Dream. We have Much Ado About Nothing. We have Twelfth Night. So Twelfth Night, I would like to mention here, is a play which deals in a very interesting concept. It's about the fluidity of genders. It's about a woman who disguises as a man, and then there's this huge mismatch in this thing where like a person falls in love with him slash her, and it just leads into a lot of comedy, which is like really fun. Because identity crises are, I mean, we deal with that kind of thing. I know for a fact that he deals with that kind of thing. Anyways,
Hold on, you can't deviate that from this, okay? I like this thing. Shakespeare in general, I feel really makes the people in like who read question what this character is about, right?
Exactly, yeah. So
And
I think
the
it's a lot
best
about
part is you can also have different interpretations of that.
yes.
Especially when you're doing a play, right?
Yeah.
You can always integrate yourself into those characters. And talk about integration. I just wanted a way to integrate this. He integrated the Globe Theatre into the Globe.
Exactly.
Oh, did I say England? Yeah. So, Chad, what do you know about the Globe Theatre? Besides the fact that it's the oldest running theatre company?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very smooth integration.
Thank you.
So the Globe Theatre was founded by Shakespeare after he came back and came into the theatre scene. He had instantly become popular. He wrote stuff like Titus Andronicus, Henry IV, and he became instantly popular.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, apart from being an amazing playwright, Shakespeare was also an actor and an absolutely amazing businessman, if you believe it or not. So he started this huge theatre company and he built this huge stage, and it's still there today. I mean, it's renovated and everything, but like it was this huge thing. And even today, the Globe Theatre Company, it continues to produce Shakespearean productions and is currently, the patron of the Globe Theatre is the King of England himself, King Charles.
So it's not just his plays that still exist through time. It's also his theatre. And
Quite
also-
literally.
Quite literally. Yeah. And I'm not sure if you all know, but he almost saved English from becoming a dead language. Because at one point, only the peasants used to speak English. Like pretty much like completely different from today's world, right? Literally, no one spoke English. Like most people, even in London, all like the people at the top, people in the courts, they all spoke French at that time. And like Shakespeare created that spark. He literally revived the language and gave people an incentive to learn this language because of how good his works were, because of how enjoyable they were.
And also speaking on to like adding on to the English language thing,
Yeah.
like Shakespeare introduced so much new terms.
Exactly.
Stuff like wild goose chase and stuff like breaking the ice.
Yeah.
Those were terms that he used in his poems and sonnets and all that.
A better version of today's brain rot, I guess.
That point.
But I think him integrating new words was also like a very interesting concept for people to like test, and like a lot of it gave a lot of room for people to explore and do new things.
So speaking of people exploring and everything, I mean even today if you look at stuff, if you search up Hamlet on Google, there are like 1,000 different interpretations. There's the Globe Theatre is one, there's National Theatre Live's Hamlet, lots of Hamlets going around, right? And like it's really amazing to see how people adapt it and like have something new out of it, because there isn't like a specified time period, there isn't specified, like there isn't anything saying you should do it this way. It's pretty much open for interpretation, and it's like really amazing to see how all the theatre enthusiasts interpret it. So yeah, Shakespeare, I mean we're going over time here, but
before we end off this one, to me personally, Shakespeare is not just a person, Shakespeare is a concept.
Exactly.
But yeah, with that, I think we have 3 more videos to produce, and hope you will enjoy it. Stay tuned. Definitely watch through the entire series. With that, this is
I'm Charles Pereira.
I'm Kavisha De Silva.
and this is Dithira De Silva signing off.
Guys, let's go on a goose chase.
Let's go on a goose chase.
Let's go.